as it was happening, I was very aware of how much it would mentally affect the average person, if that makes sense. So although I'm completely fine with what they've tried to do to me, I've been sitting here thinking, if I was a normal dude, I'd be in serious trouble right now. Like, not just financially, not just your economics, but genuinely how you feel. When I was canceled, when they tried their very, very best to lie about me and then delete me from all social medias and continue to lie about me, when you have the entire world trying to say you're something you're not, or convince the populace that you're dangerous when you aren't, or convince the world that you're a bad person when you know you're not, and a lot of people obviously believe it, then you start getting death threats, your family start getting death threats, and there's safety concerns. And I was thinking, if I was a normal dude living a normal life right now, this would be a serious problem. Luckily, I'm not a normal dude, which I put a life together that made me difficult to damage long ago, long before this, because I knew to a degree something like this was going to happen. But yeah, it was certainly an interesting few months when they began the attack.
Yeah. And when you talk about the Matrix attacking you, for people who are not familiar with the terminology or maybe even the story, give us a rundown of actually what's played out.
Sure. Well, I call the world the Matrix very simply. If the people who have seen the movie, they will know that our body heat inside of the movie, the body heat of humans is being harvested and used. And they occupy our minds with a false reality to keep us producing body heat long enough for the machines to function. And I believe that's a perfect analogy of what happens in the world today. I believe that our labors and our intellects and our work is basically being exploited from us and extracted. And to keep our minds occupied, they purport a false reality. Perhaps it's not a computer simulation like the movie, but it's certainly computer control. If the social media companies and the media companies can control the information people have access to, and they'll delete an entire side of the argument for anybody who tries to talk against it, then they are creating a false reality. And people are buying into this false reality so that they can stay asleep long enough to continue to be a slave. So I think the Matrix is a perfect example of what's happening in the world today. And anybody who stands up and speaks loudly up against the Matrix, if you do it too loud, too long, sooner or later they see you as a problem, they want you to go away. And there's 3 stages to that. First, they try and delete you everywhere and cancel you like they've done to me. The second stage is put you in jail for no reason. And the third stage is to kill you. So when one of my lives have been used up now, so it's kind of scary, you know? You're kind of sitting there going, well, usually at this stage people go away. But if I don't go away, what comes next? So that's kind of scary. But basically the media machine, the Matrix, decided that the impact I was having on the populace was not beneficial to them and their goals and their aims, and that whatever I'm teaching people or making people think about isn't necessarily aiding their agenda. I think with people in my position, some of them will sell their soul, or some of them will change their mind and shut up. I'm not that guy. They tried to, I think with a certain degree, they promise you fame and money, or they'll unshadow ban you, or they'll let you be a certain way. They'll let you get bigger and let your ego be satisfied if you'll be quiet. I refused, and then they decided to try and delete me from everywhere, so that's what happened.
Yeah.
So they took even I can't remember everything, bro. They took my Uber, my Airbnb, which is funny because I never used Airbnb. When they sent me a cancellation email, it's the only one I replied to. I was like, because they sent me some email, hi, my name's David, I'm from Airbnb, and the idea of inclusion is behind Airbnb's philosophy, and blah, blah, some crap about how I'm a bad person. And I replied, brother, I didn't even know I had an Airbnb account. I can't remember ever booking an Airbnb. I don't know why you're trying to feel involved, but get fucked. So I told them to fuck off. But Uber, Airbnb, my payment processor for my business, Stripe, my Gmail, my Instagram, my Facebook, my Discord, banks, 4 banks in the UK banned me. TransferWise banned me. Name a company.
Yeah.
They banned me. Like it was crazy. So everybody was banning me from everything instantly. And the optimists of the world believe that it's just social pressure and that one company bans you and the others just fall in line. Whereas me, perhaps a pessimist, but truthfully a realist, I understand that it's very orchestrated and it's designed to teach you a lesson. They want to teach you a lesson. They want you to be broke. They want you to struggle to function in society, and they want you to have no voice. And that's what they want to do. They want to make you scared to continue to talk. I think it's just basic human nature. I don't think the people who are running the world are much different than you and I. Perhaps they have different resource and different capability, but I think that human nature stays constant throughout. And me, I run a fairly large empire now. Let's say I have 200 or 300 people working for me. If there was somebody inside of my organization which ignored my orders and inspired other people inside of my organization to be insubordinate, then I would fire them. So when you're running a country or the world, and there's somebody inside of the world that's inspiring others to be insubordinate, then you're going to want to fire them to some degree. And I understood that what they're trying to do to the populace, I truly believe is evil. I don't know whether they believe it's evil or they believe it's good. That's their decision. I don't know their moral backing, but I personally believe it's evil and I stand counter to it. So why would they want me to have a voice? Why would they want me to have influence? For the same reason I wouldn't want an employee in my company to have influence when he's countering my narrative. They don't want me to have a voice. So I always understood this. I knew that sooner or later they were going to just look at me and think he's too big of a problem to exist. And they have to pretend to be balanced and fair. Because when you're tyrannical, the number one thing you don't want people to realize is that you're tyrannical, right? So you have a massive voice, especially during COVID. It was me and you, the number one biggest anti-COVID guys. We were absolutely completely about it. But they have to let some people talk against their agendas, because if they delete everybody instantly, then it shows that they're tyrannical and it collapses. So you have to pretend they're balanced and fair, and they do. But if you reach a critical mass where you're having a genuine impact and effect at a certain point, I think that they just come for you and shut you up. Your Twitter account's massive, and you say so many great things on Twitter. If you had the same following on other platforms that you had on Twitter, you'd be gone. That's just what happens. You get to a certain point of critical mass, and they go, oh, okay, he has to go. That's a good question. Some companies gave me a reason, some companies didn't. So Meta and YouTube never even sent me an email. They just deleted me completely, and in sync were these massive press releases, which obviously they had prepared statements to release to the press, but they never gave me an official reason by email. So they've never even told me why. And the reason for that is because I think they understood that they're probably going to end up in court, and they want to be able to make up their reason as they go along in the courtroom. They don't want to stick to a reason on the day. In fact, I've heard from reliable sources that terms and conditions for both of these companies have changed post my banning. So they've tried to protect themselves. So that's that. A few other companies, the ones who deleted me, like Airbnb, etc., it was the typical generic community guideline standards don't meet our current expectations of that. It's all vague garbage. And when you click accept to these companies, you're accepting terms and conditions that are so ridiculously vague. They basically mean we can ban anyone at any time without reason because we decided to. So they don't have to give you a reason, you know? The reason that they told the media is that I'm somehow hateful and misogynistic and I'm dangerous to the world, which I think anybody with a brain knows is absolutely not true. I have opinions, yes, but those opinions aren't going to be out here detrimenting society, not the way that most of the genuine evil that the mainstream media purports out to the children is actually damaging society. The reason they deleted me is because I was massively influential and they didn't like the direction in which I was pushing the youth of the world, which was to think for themselves. So they thought I had to go. That's what the real reason they did it, and they never even told me.